Welcome back to It's a Twin Thing. It's Aspen, the better half of the Somers twins.
And it's me, Ashley, the best half of the Somers twins.
Ashley's feeling a little under the weather today, so if you're wondering why she sounds weird, it's because she has a cold. Just kidding, that's not really her. Unfortunately, Ashley is sick today, but we have a very exciting special guest filling in, pretending to be her. He's very good at impressions, so you might not be able to tell the difference. Today joining me is my dad and fellow Christmas lover, probably the only person on the planet who loves Christmas as much as I do, Lonnie Somers.
Hi, everybody. It's so nice to be here. Even though I'm really sad that Ashley is sick, I'm very excited to be filling in for her today. Hey, by the way, I'm much better looking than you.
Mm-hmm. You look more like me than she does.
Okay. Yeah, true. So, it is now past Christmas, sort of.
Well, it's kind of weird because when they're listening to us, it's after Christmas for them, but we're before Christmas, so we're coming to them from the past.
Ooh, it's the ghost of Christmas past.
Ooh, you're right.
Into the future.
Spooky.
While the present's happening. I'm so confused.
Huh. And Christmas presents.
Yes, we should open some Christmas presents.
We should guess what we're going to get for Christmas.
I'm getting a hippopotamus for Christmas.
You got a hippopotamus once.
I want a real hippopotamus.
Okay. One time my dad was really obsessed with that song, so we got him a stuffed one, but wasn't good enough.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second. It's obviously a very famous Christmas song. I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. Now, for whatever reason, that song, that particular time frame just stuck in my head, and it was an earworm, but it was a fun earworm. Mm-hmm. But then there are certain songs that get in the earworm that are not so exciting. For me, and during Christmas time, 99.9% of Christmas music I'm excited about. No disrespect to Wham fans and stuff, and I love George Michael, but Last Christmas might be played just as much as Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You song. So much so that every time I hear it, it has ruined the song for me.
I feel like there's just way too many versions of it, and if you live in Colorado, you probably listen to Cozy. They seem to have some kind of deal with the writers of that song that they play it every other song, so it gets a little much.
Welcome to Cozy 101. Coming up now, it's Last Christmas. And after that, it'll be Last Christmas. And then again after that, Last Christmas. We hope you enjoy this amazing marathon of Last Christmas.
Yeah. Well, there's a song, I don't even know what it's called, but it's one that's similar. Do you know the one that's like, Santa, tell me if you're really there?
I don't know if I do.
I don't think it's Mariah Carey, but it's some like pop song. And I feel like they always play it. One time I was listening to Christmas music and I was trying to go to sleep. This was when I was at school, and I was working really hard on this English essay, and I was really stressed out about it, and it was like an analytical essay. And the whole point of the book was that you can't predict your future. This song was playing and I was like half asleep, and I started having this existential crisis when I was listening to the song because I was thinking about my English essay, and I was like, this is just the problem with that book is everybody wants to know what their future is, but they just can't know. And this poor lady who's singing the song is just, Santa's not going to be able to tell her, and she's never going to know what's going to happen next year. I was getting really stressed out about it. And then when I woke up in the morning, I was all stressed about this Christmas song. That's what English essays will do to you when you're working too hard on them.
Apparently, that's a little concerning on many levels. With Christmas music, and I know you and Ashley on some of your Christmas episodes talked a little about music, but is there one song that particularly, like when you hear that, it's 100% Christmas to you?
Well, my favorite Christmas song is the Here Comes Santa Claus, Right Down Santa Claus Lane. I don't know what the name is.
Here Comes Santa Claus?
Yeah. That's my favorite song, but the song that for some reason just makes it feel like Christmas is Hark the Herald Angels Sing. I don't know why. I think it's because they play it at the end of this Christmas movie, Eloise at Christmas Time. For some reason, that movie just seems really Christmassy to me, and when I watch it, it's like, oh, it's Christmas. What about you?
That's a tough one because there's a lot of songs. I don't know if I could say there's particularly one that makes me feel like Christmas. I think there's a particular singer, coincidentally, is Elvis. Growing up, when I did, and Elvis is still very popular with a lot of his Christmas music, but a lot of Elvis's Christmas music is always played so much that I feel like a lot of those songs were fun. And that, but I have kind of two things like that. I also like Trans-Siberian Orchestra, the Christmas kind of feel to things, but then I like really sometimes just kind of, so I call it my soothing Christmas music. Think of a nice, beautiful night with the moon glistening off the snow and hearing some soft Christmas music just puts me in a nice, mellow, deep mood of pure Christmas serenity enjoyment.
Yeah, I can understand that. That's why I sometimes don't like that the radio stations play all of those poppy songs so much, because I like the calming, mellow, Christmassy music.
Okay, now this might be taking things a little bit of controversy. Baby, It's Cold Outside. Banned? Should be banned or not banned?
Well, I've been listening to this Christmas podcast and they were talking about the history of it. It was actually really interesting because I can't remember their names. I have a terrible memory, so everything I talk about, I'm just going to not remember. But it was written in the 1930s or 40s by this songwriter. His name was Frank something, but it wasn't Frank Sinatra. He and his wife would just sing this song at parties for fun, and it became really popular, and everyone would always ask them to sing it. And then eventually he put it in a movie and it kind of took off and became super popular. And the other interesting thing I learned about it was that the first year it came out, there was 9 singers that made recordings of it, and none of them were during Christmas. They were all between like January and June. So it wasn't even a Christmas song. They wrote it very innocently though, like it was just a fun party song. But I also can understand how now the lyrics are a little bit controversial. That's a hard word to say.
Apparently.
But I like sometimes in movies when they do parodies of the song. What do you think about it?
Me personally, I don't think it should be so controversial. I understand that some of the words could be taken like stockish and forcing something on somebody, but it was and it was an innocent song. It was a different time. The words were used differently then. But when you look at that, and there was a comedian that did this. I won't go into the other song that they brought up to talk about that's popular today. But if you compare the two and you're trying to talk about how terrible the one is, and the other one actually was a top 10 hit, the top 10 hit talks explicitly about a lot of actions that are really terrible and stuff like that compared to remarks that could be that were different in a different time period that were innocent versus what they could be today, meaning something different. So I think sometimes it is what it was during the time frame. It was not something that was meant to be that, and people should just kind of enjoy it for what it is. That's my opinion. But, the best part about it is if you don't like it, you can turn it off, just like last Christmas.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked a little bit about how the show is, what you were talking about the show. So since I'm this guest here today, you were going to ask me some questions.
I was. Well, in our last few episodes, Ashley and I have done My Favorite Things segment where we talk about our favorite things in different categories of Christmas.
These are a few of my favorite things.
I wanted to hear about your favorites of all of those. So the first one was your favorite Christmas song, which you kind of already said, but do you have like one very favorite Christmas song?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit hard because of what I like, but I think the one that I like a lot is Trans-Siberia, because it does one called Canon, a Christmas Canon. I like Canon in D. I don't know why I love that so much, but I love that instrumental piece, and that combined with the Christmas, the way they do it, and the kids' choir and the stuff like that, it's really super.
Well, you've been wanting to see Trans-Siberian Orchestra for many, many years, and every year you either have a race or something else comes up, and then last year you finally had tickets, and then it was your brother's 60th birthday party, so you couldn't go, and then this year you ended up getting somebody tickets to go see a show that was the same day.
Yep.
So next year that's like #1 bucket list.
Gotta happen. Happen. I've had to give tickets away. The people I gave the tickets away were dear friends, and they were like, this was the most awesome show ever. We're so sorry that you couldn't make it, but we're so glad you couldn't make it. So they got the tickets.
We're going to make it happen. Okay, then what is your favorite Christmas movie?
Favorite Christmas movie? Whew. Funny thing about It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart. The funny thing is how that came about is I hadn't seen it. You think it's something I grew up with. I didn't see it probably till 6 or 7 years ago. I was in the hiding place wrapping gifts. I turned on TV. The show was on, happened to be on, and I got completely sucked into it and I fell in love with the movie. That's by far my favorite. Second has got to be National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, I love that one.
I am the epitome of Clark Griswold when it comes to certain things.
Yeah. Have you watched It's a Wonderful Life in color?
I have not. I like the original black and white. I know you and sometimes actually our fans of the black and white. I should say, I don't think I watched the whole thing. I've seen little parts on TV occasionally in color, but the black and white for me has got to be it. There's something nostalgic about it.
I was just wondering, I don't think I've seen it in color, but I've heard people have very strong opinions about whether they should have done it in color or not, so I was curious. I don't think I've watched it in a while, but I think I liked it even though it was in black and white.
Yeah.
I don't think I mind black and white movies. It's just, I took this film class one time where we watched a lot of black and white silent films, and not that they weren't enjoyable, but it was, the point of the class was like a history class, so it just, some of them were kind of boring, and then we watched a lot of horror movies that were in black and white, which was not up my alley. But yeah, National Lampoon's is one of our favorites to watch together.
It is very funny. I remember when you and Ashley, because we saw it, you guys were probably, well, you probably know the age, but you were younger. Mm-hmm. So some of the stuff you didn't necessarily get. But that was the most fun watching it with you guys, probably why it's up there with one of my favorites, because watching you both react to parts to the show was hysterical. First of all, was Aunt Bethany standing up, supposed to be doing the play, or the saying grace.
Yeah.
At dinner, and she starts saying Pledge of Allegiance. You both were cracking up like you would not believe. It was so funny watching you guys do that it made it twice as hysterical for Mommy and I.
I will never forget the first time we watched that movie, because that was so funny. Something that I don't like about movies that are that funny is, like, after you watch it the first time, it's still funny, but you never get that hilarity of the first time watching it. And I feel like there's so few movies that are that funny that you're out loud laughing the whole time. Okay, and then our last favorite question is, what is your very favorite Christmas tradition?
Favorite Christmas tradition? That's a tough one to answer, because growing up, and I think the tradition was introduced to you from my side of the family, is Christmas Eve and the Christmas Eve soup. Mm-hmm. So that kind of sparks Christmas for me. Is an important thing. I think you said it on one of the shows, is that Christmas Eve is your favorite. Christmas is fun, but like there's the whole build-up of Christmas Eve, and Christmas is the next day, so there's that time period. Mm-hmm. That's really exciting. But I don't know. I think it's changed when you guys were littler. Watching you guys run downstairs and see the presents was really fun. I also love the fact that we love to make gingerbread houses, but our favorite thing ever since you were little is we destroy them on Christmas Day.
Smash them with our fists.
And then we eat them.
Yeah, we were making our gingerbread houses the other day, and we were thinking that most people probably don't eat them. Or, I mean, our best friends glue them together. They don't use frosting, which ruins the whole fun of it, because even if you're not going to eat it, you should at least be eating the frosting while you're making them. But we were saying that most people probably either don't eat them or build them and then eat them right away. We let them sit and be decorations, and then we eat them. You have to enjoy them and look at them every day and be like, I can't wait to eat them.
Exactly, and then we don't just slightly just take them, we destroy it.
Yeah, and they break all over and explode and make a little bit of a mess, but that's part of the fun.
What's your favorite tradition?
I said, well, Ashley had said Christmas Eve, so then I feel like that's one of my favorites too, but I also love driving around and looking at Christmas lights. I just feel like that always makes it feel super Christmassy. Oh, I was thinking you should tell the story of the time when you saved Christmas and got our Christmas present in the middle of a snowstorm.
Yes, so for whatever reason, you and Ashley really wanted, and it wasn't like you saw it somewhere, but you wanted a pink washing machine for Christmas. Okay, that's an easy one, because you can just go pick those up anywhere. Mm-hmm. And so after some talks with Santa, we actually helped find, his elves had to do a little fancy work to help find a pink washing machine. The only problem was, Santa needed a little help outside the North Pole, so they had another place that was making it, and they had to get here. So 2 days before Christmas that it was supposed to get into a spot where Santa would then be able to deliver it on Christmas morning, we had a really big snowstorm, and it could not get delivered to where it was supposed to be. So I frantically was calling every the places to figure out where it was at, because we knew it was in Denver. It was just where was it being held at, and could we try to get to it? So we got a hold of somebody. They could tell us, yes, you can come get it if you can get here. Good luck, because roads were actually closing down all over the place. Mm-hmm. So I grabbed a 4-wheel drive and drove what felt like 2 hours to get out to where I needed to go, which should have only taken like 45 minutes to get there. To get the pink washing machine and get it to where it needed to go so that Santa could deliver it on Christmas morning. And that was a full ordeal, but Christmas morning you had your pink washing machine ready to go, and you came down and went right past it and went over to like baby bubbles.
I think that the lack of reaction was because we were expecting a real washing machine, and it was not a real washing machine. It was a toy washing machine, which in hindsight, if we would have gotten a real washing machine, then we would have had to actually do our laundry, which I don't think we would have enjoyed that as much as we thought that we would have.
Probably not.
But in our heads, we thought we were going to get like a real life-sized metal washing machine.
So for parents out there, when your kids are asking Santa for something, we've all had that moment where Santa gets asked something that is traditionally not necessarily made at the North Pole. And parents are then having to figure out how to work with Santa to potentially make some of those things happen. And that was one of those time frames. But we have still to this day have no idea where a pink washing machine idea came from.
I mean, we ended up really loving the one that we had because we loved baby dolls, and we had just this giant box full of clothes so we could do their laundry. I remember we got a cardboard box, and you or our mom wrote clean and dirty on the box, and we would turn it around.
Yeah. So speaking of Santa, one of the things when you're little is getting to see Santa. Mm-hmm. So is that exciting for you or scary for you?
I know that there's a story of us crying a lot when we were 1 and we went to see him.
When you were 1, every kid does.
Yeah, but I don't remember ever being scared. I feel like I was always really excited to go see Santa. I think I was always nervous from a starstruck perspective. Santa was like the ultimate famous person, so I was always nervous because I was like, I don't want to embarrass myself, and what am I going to say? And I always had a really long list because I could never quite decide what I wanted. Well, actually, that's not true. I think when I was really little, I had a lot of things on my list, and then after I was 6 or 7, I just had no idea, and so I didn't know what to tell him, and then he would ask if you were good, and you didn't really know what to say, because, like, you thought you were good, but what if he didn't think you were good, and then he thought you were lying? There's a lot of overthinking that went into seeing Santa.
I can't believe that would happen.
I know. But yeah, I think I really enjoyed it.
One of my favorite memories is we actually have Satellite North Pole in Colorado, mm-hmm. and going there during visiting, and they have a whole amusement park area and stuff. And there's Santa's workshop or Santa's little house where Santa's in there. Mm-hmm. And I think it was Ashley who you went in to see him, but Ashley was too nervous to go see him. So she's standing by the door, like as excited as can be, and kind of peeking around the corner of the door, looking at Santa. But you can just see she's like all nervous, even in the picture. You can see she's just this bundle of nervous of energy, like, oh my gosh, it's really Santa, but I'm not going near him because I'm too nervous.
That's cute.
It was really cute.
Well, we went to the North Pole over the summer to walk around, and it was closing at 5, and it was like 4:56, and I was like, I really want to go see Santa. We haven't gone to see Santa in 100 years. And so we rushed over there, and he was still there. And I don't think Ashley was too thrilled about going to see him, but it was fun. I also, speaking of Santa, what do you think about Elf on the Shelf versus our elf? Well, oh wait, I can't ask that. Never mind, scratch the Elf on the Shelf thing.
Scratch the Elf on the Shelf. So you started to bring up Elf on the Shelf, and your Elf on the Shelf isn't a traditional-looking Elf on the Shelf because it was at a time when the Elf on the Shelf, so Santa made these appear came up with this idea for those elves to watch kids, and they're a little mischievous, but you, on the other hand, got not a mischievous one. Mm-hmm. He's a little more magical because he doesn't bend and do all these things that some of the Elf on the Shelf does. He's kind of a more statuesque type of thing. But you and Ashley, to this day, but back then even still loved him, called him Jingle. And
do you remember, did we name him or did he come with his name?
I think he came with his name. Mm-hmm. But you guys loved him. And he was every day trying to figure out where he moved to and stuff like that. He wasn't mischievous, but he kind of moved different things and leave you notes and stuff. And the best part was you couldn't wait till your birthday after Christmas because you'd hope that Jingle could make a special appearance. Most of the time he would. That
was always really fun. One time, it was the first year that we got him, he came and visited for our birthday, and we had this whole scavenger hunt for our birthday present, and he was at the end of the scavenger hunt with boxes that had something inside that said we were going to Disney World, so that was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I remember we would sometimes, for Christmas, we would get to hug him because you know how you're not supposed to touch them, but Santa would make a special thing with the magic that we could give him a hug, and we would, whenever that would happen, I think it was only a couple of years, but we would wait all day because we didn't want to waste our hug, and we were so nervous about touching him. And then one time we accidentally knocked him over. Like, we didn't touch him, but something happened and he fell over. And we were freaking out. And you saved the day because we had this fake cloth tree, like plastic and cloth, and you cupped it over him and then stood him back up. It was a little touch and go there for a minute.
It was, but luckily Jingle is still hanging around and everything's all okay with him.
Even though we're 20, Jingle still comes and visits every year. I think it's kind of funny that Elf on the Shelves are so mischievous. I wonder if the reason they get sent away from the North Pole is for them to shape up a little, because you would think some of the things they do, they would end up on the naughty list.
I would think so too. I don't know why, but I think Santa needs to rethink about where he's sending him for reformat. Sending him to houses to watch over the kids and report back is probably not working out too well.
Yeah, I think they're learning mischievous behavior from the kids. I'm glad that we have a nice elf and not a naughty elf.
Yes. My cleanliness OCD couldn't handle a naughty elf.
Well, the last thing that I wanted to talk about, since people are listening to this after Christmas, and something that I feel very passionate about, I think you should leave your Christmas decorations up for a while after Christmas, specifically until your kids go back to school, and then clean them up after they're
So we can do
gone.
all the work is what you're saying?
No, so we don't have to see the sad house without the Christmas decorations.
Oh, I see.
So I think you can leave them up no problem until January 10th or 11th-ish. But I even think it's okay to leave them up. As long as it's through January, I feel like you're still in the safe zone. But I know some people think like January 1st. Some people are like December 26th. We're tearing them down. So I was very curious what your thoughts on the matter are.
That's a toughie because I love Christmas and I love having Christmas decorations up as early as possible and enjoy all of the season and get into the mood. But for some reason, I think it's because it's like when it's the day after Christmas, because then it's just not Christmas anymore. I feel like I don't want the memory of Christmas there, which is weird. So like I'm kind of anxious to be like, okay, Christmas is over, get the stuff down. Now, I'm not saying that we never take them down that early. I'm kind of probably more on after the first. Second, it's probably good to take them down. It's a new year, refresh everything, put the Christmas decorations till next year. Colorado's a little bit interesting, or especially around Denver, because, and I don't remember how this all started, but we have the National Western Stock Show. Mm-hmm. It's world renowned, and I think to welcome everybody many, many years ago, and it's been around for 70 some years or something. I think it was either the governor or mayor, somebody political said, we want to welcome people in our town. So please, leave your Christmas stuff up. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people will leave their Christmas lights and everything up until after the stock show, which usually ends sometime around like third week of January. Mm-hmm. But for me personally, that's a little too long. I think right after the first.
Yeah, that's interesting that you don't want the memory of Christmas anymore, because I feel like I'm always so sad that Christmas is over, so I want it to feel like it's still the Christmas season, at least through New Year's. I always feel like you can still be doing Christmassy things, especially because, we're experiencing this year, is that you always think there's going to be so much time to do all your Christmassy stuff, and then all of a sudden it's less than a week until Christmas and you're like, there's so much to do. So then it's always nice to be like, okay, well, if we don't get these cookies baked or we don't watch this movie, we still have this whole week before New Year's where we can just extend Christmas.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why I have such a weird time with that, because I totally agree with you and stuff. But I think it's because it's like I love as a kid and everything like that, and even as an adult, like I love the build up to Christmas. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like the whole feeling of Christmas Eve. Like Christmas Eve is like the favorite time frame. Like one's kind of like the stuff we do traditionally, and Christmas Eve happens. So like it's all kind of build up to Christmas, and then there's that time frame between that and Christmas coming, and then like the day of Christmas is exciting, but then it's like it's over too soon. But it's the date changes, the calendar, you can't hold the dates. So I feel like even though you can just keep celebrating, for whatever reason in my head, it's kind of like, oh, it's build up and then it's just over. So I feel like for you, it's like, I want to keep the memory alive. For me, I'm like, I don't want to feel the sadness. So I need to go back to normal, that it's not Christmas build up time frame.
Yeah, you don't want to be thinking about that Christmas is over.
Yeah, I think the build up of Christmas is what is probably most exciting for me.
Yeah, me too. I feel like Christmas Day, I love Christmas Day, but I feel like that's one of my least favorite days in December because I mean, I guess not really, because like final days and stuff, but Christmas morning is super fun and Christmassy, and then we usually have people over, and we go over to someone else's house on Christmas night, so you're still doing stuff, but I feel like you're just the whole day, at least for me, I'm kind of like, okay, well, I just really need to enjoy this day because tomorrow Christmas is going to be over, and it kind of feels like it's the end and not the beginning. But I also think that if you can try to schedule stuff after Christmas or fun New Year's celebrations or something, then that can help, because then you have something to look forward to and not just, oh, I gotta go back to work and go back to school. And yeah. What do you think you're gonna get for Christmas this year? Because you always like to shake your presents and guess, but do you have any guesses before seeing them?
Okay, well, since this is coming out after Christmas, let's see if I'm right. My predictions are, well, see, that's not, well, I guess nobody will hear this till afterwards, so it's have to be a secret. I think I'm getting a new Garmin watch. I'm probably getting, what else am I getting? I need another flip belt. What else? Probably, we'll see, I can't tell some of the things because some of them might be thinking you're doing, and then you'll know if I know. I don't want to ruin the surprise for you thinking that he knows and why am I doing all this stuff. So I'm going to have to hold some of it till after.
Okay. Well, I would be very curious because we don't even know what we're giving you necessarily. So I'd be curious if you're right.
Well, if you don't know, then I know. Then you'll just have to see if you're figure out what I know that you don't know, that you should know that I shouldn't know, but I know.
Wow,
and you don't know.
That was really confusing.
If you slow it down and play it back, it'll make sense.
One more question and then we'll wrap it up. But I was wondering, if you don't get something that you think you're getting, are you disappointed because you like really thought you were getting it, or are you excited because you were surprised by what you got?
I guess it depends on what I got that I didn't think I would get, if I'd be surprised or not. I would say, yeah, sometimes I think genuinely, for the most part, I'm very excited about the stuff I get and stuff. I mean, I've always had fun with trying to tease you guys, like I know what it is and figure like that and drive mommy crazy that somehow I figure out what it is. Mm-hmm. But I think if there's something that I'm trying to drop hints at that might make a good gift or something like that and they don't get picked up on, then they can be a little disappointing. Like, I gave 8 million hints and nobody picked up on this.
I'll have to pay more attention to your hints because I never have good ideas.
So pay attention. But I will admit, sometimes I can be a difficult person to buy for. I don't think it's because it's one is, obviously presents are a really fun thing. I think for me, as I've gotten older, like the most important thing is just being able to spend time making memories. Mm-hmm. So experiences are fun, or sometimes just sitting on the couch watching Christmas movies, going and seeing lights, like those are more important to me than what I get on Christmas Day. But occasionally, if I'm giving a hint about something, because usually some of the things I really want can be difficult for people to get because they're not sure exactly, unless I tell them 100% specifically, here's the link and this is what you should get. So if I say that, because I love music and I love movies, and sometimes I like the really cool technological equipment that goes with it, surround sound and the cool receivers and this type of TV. So, or even because I love to ride bikes, I go cycling a lot and stuff like that. Having an upgraded bike, like it would be really difficult for mommy or someone to go pick one out and buy, because I'm probably pretty specific about what type of bike I would want. That's probably where it's hard. So a lot of times I know mommy will be like, okay, put in a card, like, we're going to get you this, but you have to pick it out. Yeah. Which is, I get, but it's also kind of like, I know a lot of times in that part never happens because life just happens and like I don't take the time to go pick it out.
No, that makes sense.
And then I still don't have my present.
Aww.
Woe is me. Oh boy.
Poor Bobby.
Poor Bobby. I wish everybody a very Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas. We hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas and a very happy New Year. Let us know when you are planning on taking your Christmas decorations down, and keep your fingers crossed that we don't have to take them down until after I go back to school.
Oh boy, just remember, I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. On the hippopotamus will do. Merry Christmas, bye-bye.